Hey guys, in this video we're going to create this web app dashboard in Figma. So in this lesson we're also going to discuss my favorite places where to get icons, how to integrate them really fast, and also things to consider when it comes to UX and call to actions in a subscription and payments UI design. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Hey guys, so let's hop on Figma and let's create this desktop dashboard. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to go here on frame. I'm going to select desktop, and this is going to give us a good foundation for this dashboard. Probably going to change the name over here, and then let's first of all start by creating the sidebar navigation, and probably going to keep it minimal. Be going to use some like purple colors over here. Let's just give it a shot with some gradients that just to make it look really good at the start. And over here I need to bring up my opacity, of course, and let's go over here and make it just a little bit more vibrant than it currently is. So I'm also going to add some icons, and for this one I'm going to use Nucleo icons, which is an amazing software in order to add icons of all sorts. So I'm going to simply just grab these ones, and then just going to browse through the icons. Really, I don't have any specific agenda when it comes to the icons that I want, but I do want to have all of them as outlines. I don't want to mix fill icons and outlines, so that's definitely something I want to keep in consideration. And let's add a few icons which are going to be the icons which we're going to add in the sidebar. So essentially these are going to serve us as the menu items for this web app we're making up. So again guys, I'm not stressing too much on which icons to use and when. Probably this is going to go with the logout. So let's give it a shot and let's try it. And I'm just going to make my chair a little bit smaller. I'm actually working on two monitors at the moment. The first one is an ultra wide, and the second one is my 27-inch iMac. The only issue is that with this screen recording software which I'm currently using, the ultra wide is not working. For some reason it's not syncing up, so I need to use the iMac, which is a little bit a shame because I need to move things around and stuff. So not really my ideal setup, but it's fine. It's still not huge problems. So let's do that. Let's go over here, and since everything is a frame, essentially I'm just going to unframe these so that we have them all together in a easy format. So I'm just going to make the stroke value of 2, gonna bring them here, use the eye picker tool, and here we go. We have these icons on our sidebar menu, and let's just move them here. I'm going to move this very last one here at the bottom, and I'm also going to just lock this layer right here and make the side icons just a little bit less visible by giving them a little bit less opacity. And let's move this one right here at the bottom, and I'm going to use a rectangle here on the top and just create a stroke around it, have less feel, and here we go. Maybe let's add just a touch of roundedness, if that's even a word, because I'm making this one up. And I think we're good with the side menus for now. Not 100% happy with it. I'm not sure about it. about what's not making me 100% happy with it yet, but we're just going to work on it. And sometimes you just have to like lay down the foundation, work on something else, and then the other areas, the other parts of the designs are just going to work out later on. Maybe you're going to see things that you're not seeing at this very stage, but for now I think I'm pretty happy with it. Let's just add a touch of a drop shadow in the side menu just to make it a little bit stand out a little bit more. And now we're going to create the actual main screen. So I'm going to add a background at the bottom, and I'm going to source the same purple color, but actually I'm going to revert more towards blue because I think it works a little bit better. And let's bring this layer to the very bottom, otherwise it's the drop shadow would interfere with the specific background layer. So let's lock it, since again it's a background layer, and I'm going to call this settings, or actually let's create a user screen. So I'm just inventing a name on this spot at the moment, and let's use another font. I'm gonna go with Proxima Nova, which is a really cool font when it comes to UI designs and all these good things that we like doing. And I'm just going to create a second set of information. This is your profile page, and we're going to assume that we are in a page of the in a part of the profile page where you need to make a payment of some sort. So that's going to be the assumption for this screen. And looking to do this within a reasonable time, because I have a client call with a client from Amsterdam in just around half an hour from now, or actually that's 45 minutes from now, so it's not that bad. And I want to have this up by then. So as you can see, I'm using Content Reel, which is a Figma plugin. If you don't have it, you can simply go here on plugins, click on manage plugins, and browse our plugins, start typing Content Reel, and basically the first one, it's this one here. So as you can see, it's quite useful. Simply click on a few of these photos and find a photo which work well with the layout which we're working on at the moment. So I'm not really selecting based on the person. I'm more selecting based on the colors in the photography, and I think this specific avatar works well with this composition. So let's just keep it at that, and I'm going to duplicate this. I'm also going to select auto width so that we don't have these like huge borders each and every time to work with, and I'm going to start typing my profile, and then the second one, and then the third one, and let's say payments, subscriptions, and settings of other kinds. So at the moment we have these few elements. I'm also going to get rid of content reel. It's really helpful for our purpose, but we don't need it anymore. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller, and I want to have these elements in a black color so they're more legible. Probably we're just going to keep the main one, which we currently have selected as the one in bold, and we're also going to add a line below, just to make it really clear that it's the one we have selected. And I'm going to make this one purple. So all right, I think we're quite doing quite well. Yeah, I'm going to change some things around, and because I potentially want also like a profile on the very top, just so that we can actually create some settings on the bar of some kind. Actually, let's just leave it like this, and I'm going to go on nucleo, white dots, and add some good old dots to the composition. I'm gonna do it here. So this is basically the assumption that we're going to have like a menu on the top right, and essentially this is going to help us with having some sort of selections and things of that nature. Let's add also some blur effect over here. Maybe we don't want it. Still not 100% sure about it, but again, guys, we're just trying things out, and now one thing that I want to do is to create the actual subscriptions which we have available on the page. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is to just create a few of these boxes, stretch them out just to see that if I'm happy with the composition at the moment. And yeah, I think I just want to make the spacing in between a little bit bigger, and here we go. So let's make this all white, and actually I think that I want a little bit less of spacing. Let's make these all white, and let's start adding some text and informations inside of these pricing plans. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Just going to move these guys at the very bottom, just to be sure that they don't interfere with the layers above. And I'm going to call this first version the silver. We're going to have the gold and the platinum, and I'm going to add 999 as the, or actually 97, as gurus like to use in online courses these days. So that's that. We have the amount, probably going to make the dollar figure smaller, and let's consider, cannot have it on top, yeah, whatever, that's fine so far for now. And let's go ahead and make this one a little bit bigger. So let's use 27. Let's bring out the top right here, and let's just center align it, and we're going to center align all of these guys, center, and just to make things easier when we are actually editing the other parts of the UI. So let's go ahead and write some text inside of the element. So this is the best plan for people who are starting out. All right, gonna make it smaller, gonna add a little bit of spacing just to make it easier on the eye, and probably going to bring it down, and I'm going to use regular, since we don't need a whole lot of visual emphasis on this very element. So actually, let's revert back this one. So at the moment I'm quite happy with all this. Let's just add a line over here, and let's give this line less opacity, maybe 50%, and let's bring all of this stuff down, and we're going to add some features. So let's say payments. Yep. And by the way, guys, like some of these things, you know, I'm kind of creating in a way which is quite free, of course, because we don't have a design system to this web app yet. But if you're working on a client project, you would usually use the same rules over and over again. So when it comes to, and by rules I'm referring to things like typography, color styles, and all those things. So you always want to try and maintain a level of consistency in your designs. Granted, at this very moment it's difficult, or actually we cannot really do it because we're making this up from scratch. So usually the way that I would do it, if this, for example, was a client that I'm working with for the first time, is maybe I'm going to set up like the first screen or two, and then set up a design system if you want to go that route. So let's add the call to action here. This is going to be current. So this is going to be the current payment or actually subscription plan that he's currently on. And I'm going to make this one like this, just add a little bit more. Yeah, we can even make it around these lines. Let's add some more height to this plan, and let's bring the button below. All right, I think I'm quite happy with this. Probably one thing that I want to change, of course, is these is the text on these buttons right here. So first one is payment, the other one is subscriptions, third one is ads, and just making this stuff up for you guys, so don't take it too literal. And let's just move these ones a little bit on the left, and yeah, actually let's give it a try and left align all of these. Okay, yeah, I think that's the direction we're going with. Quite happy with it. And yeah, let's go ahead and actually do something with these guys right here. So I'm just going to unlock them all, and I'm going to bring this one up just a touch. Bring this one down and up again, so that we have equal distance between this part and this part. And I'm going to use some rulers just to keep in mind where these other boxes were. And I'm going to essentially copy this one, copy it, and here we go. So now it's just a matter of changing up the names and add a different units. Yep. So when these things happen, I usually like to hack the system and just add a text in the middle, in between, and this one is going to be different, or actually for some reason 2497. All right, just keep it at that. Platinum. This is an awesome plan. So as you can see, once you created the very first element in a good way, in a good and structured way, you can easily just duplicate it, and you know, most of the hard work is essentially done for you. So it's really important to create the first element well, so that, you know, whenever you're duplicating them, it's just going to be easier. And that's that. Okay. So let's go over here, and I just wanted to give some extra breathing room because I thought it was a little bit too squashed. So I added a little bit of height in the dashboard, just to make it look better. And yeah, overall didn't want to make it too squashed. So just going to add some values over here, and let's pretend that these ones are better subscription models. So we're going to give credit where credit is due. So I'm going to change the call to action here to upgrade, and I'm going to use the same color for the text, and I'm going to bring down the opacity of this field to 10, since this is the current the current subscription this guy is using. And I also want to add a tag in order to really make clear that this is the current subscription. So just going to go here, then duplicate one of these guys, write current, and I'm probably going to use all caps, make it bold, and again using auto resize, so auto width, so it's going to be easier to resize, move around with these, and bring this one here, double click, add roundedness, and just bring this one a little bit on the left, so it's easier to see. Maybe we can bring it one font size less, and yeah, quite pleased with this direction. And I also want to differentiate this one a little bit more. Probably what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to create a fill on all of them, remove the fill, add the stroke on all of them, and change the stroke color to this one right here, and add a value of 1.5 or on all of them, bring the opacity up. So basically you can see that this one is going to be visually differentiated from these ones here. So these ones, since they have an actual background and the button is more visible, they're going to drive more visual emphasis, and this is something that we want, because we want the users to proceed and upgrade to the option with more visual emphasis, so you know the company can make money out of it. Pretty simple and pretty straightforward. Now I want to give it a shot and add an arrow here on the upgrade, and there's two ways we can do that. You can either go here on Figma and create an arrow, or I can go on Nucleo and on Nucleo icons, or whatever other library really. Nucleo icons is just one of the many libraries that you can use. So if I go here on Nucleo, let me just open up Safari, and I'll show you that in just one moment. So Nucleo icons, go over here. So basically Nucleo is organizer and icon library. Now you can use it with all sorts of icon libraries. The most famous one, of course, it's Google Material Icons. You can use Nucleo icons, which are really good, but they also cost money. So it really depends if you want to use a free icon library, or a paid one. For the scope of this tutorial, both are totally fine. The icons in and of itself or it's not like the core focus of this tutorial, so just keep that in mind. Another great alternative is icon jar, which you can totally use, and just going to search it on Google, and as you can see, geticonjar.com, this is the one which I'm referring to. So again, you're going to find all sorts of icons which you can download directly from here. As you can see, there's also a sketch plugin, but this is not relevant for us since we're using Figma. And you can find all sorts of different icons. So I guess for this specific tutorial, and the project that you're going to create when you're trying to redo the screen, I would recommend you to just download one of these icon sets and either in IconJar or use Nucleo. And the great thing about these softwares is that they can save like so much time, because as you saw, I'm just like dragging and dropping the icons onto the canvas. Normally, like usually what everybody does is they go on a website like Google Material, and they search for the icon in the website, they download it, then they have it in their downloads folder, and then they drop it from the downloads folder. That takes more time, so, and it's extra work which doesn't necessarily yield a positive ROI. So I don't really recommend that flow, although it's definitely something which works, that brings the exact same result, just using one of these icon libraries, organizers. You can do the same in less time, so why not? So over here I created an arrow, and I'm going to go here on stroke. Just going to make this arrow a little bit smaller, and we're going to bring it here, and I'm actually wondering if we can go with something like this, or actually bring the arrow on the center, and I think that's what we're gonna do. So let's centralize this arrow, centralize this one as well, and I'm going to group it all together. Now we need to substitute this button on the right as well. So what I'm gonna do is copy this button, duplicate it, bring it here, and yeah, I think we're pretty set. Just want to bring it a little bit on the right as well. So okay, for the most part, I think we are pretty set with all this. So one thing that I'm going to do now is to briefly organize the layers and group them together, and pretty much clean up this file, just so that we can conclude. And just going to rename these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and going to group all of these into a group called icons. Now I need to select the background side menu, and here is the fictional logo. Oops. And I'm going to select all of these, including the background side menu, group them all together. I'm going to rename it to side menu. So that's that. We also have this section right here. Going to rename it into pick. So as you can see, I'm not really using long names, and I'm doing this purposely because one, there's not really a huge amount of benefits in renaming layers with a long name. Secondarily, you can pretty much like spot them and understand the context right away anyways. So and it takes, of course, less time to rename them. So it's a win-win for all, each and every front pretty much. So we're going to group all of these into a group called menu. This is going to be a group called mark, and here you have the menu, and we're just going to group all of these elements. Actually, we have two menus, so this one's going to be renamed into dots. So I'm just going to group all of these elements, and I'm going to group and rename them to top area. And here at the bottom we have a few of these. I won't bother into like organizing them inside. I think for the most part we're pretty set. But one thing that I'm going to do is just ungroup these just one time, and then just group these into 1, 2, and 3. Again, guys, like if you want to if you're working on a client project, especially if you're working with a design team, it's going to be really beneficial if you go ahead and group and rename all of the layers and folders inside. Just for this specific tutorial, it's not really yielding a great ROI, so we're just going to do it like this, and the concept is still clear, and everything is pretty much set up now. So I hope you enjoyed this Figma tutorial, and we just created this dashboard. So my best suggestion is, if you can go ahead and just create maybe like more screens and try to maintain the same visual style. This is definitely an exercise that can help you in order to really consolidate some of the concepts which we discussed, and especially give it a shot when it comes to trying different icons and different styles. It's always something which is worth it. And again, really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next video.